What up, my fellow NBA lovers? This is your guy, Marcellus Ease. You know, this Nets situation just keeps getting stranger and stranger. You know, it's a matter of time before the Nets can't stop hiding behind the good guy image of Steve Nash, because he's the only thing that's really preventing this team from being a full out punching bag from the media and a lot of fans. Now, the Brooklyn Nets somehow gave up 48 points in the fourth quarter to the Washington Wizards alone. I mean, Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook pretty much Reggie Millered Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets in that fourth quarter by getting 6 points in 7 seconds. Now, even though the Wizards did win this game, there's still a few questions we have to ask ourselves regarding to the Wizards. Scott Brooks, he's definitely on the line and in the hot seat as a head coach of this team, because with the addition of Russell Westbrook and the money that they spent in the offseason, particularly towards Bertans, they were supposed to go up to the next level at least, not be a last place team. And the fact that Russell Westbrook has entered this team has left Bradley Beal in a funny situation, because right now he is the more proficient player and better player. But Russell Westbrook must look at him and ask himself, what the hell has he achieved in the league versus what I've done in the league, which is multiple playoff appearances and MVP awards. Now, the Nets this season have been handed 2 losses to the Wizards, and even without James Harden being in this game, the Nets still managed to score 140 points. But we still have to ask ourselves, can this Mike D'Antoni style of just scoring nonstop to outscore the defense, is this really going to work? You guys check out this segment, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Oh, this game.
The Nets defensively. Now, I've tried to tell Skip Bayless, but he didn't want to hear me when I said this. So now that I have your undivided attention,
You don't.
after your team gave up 84 second half points, 48 in the fourth quarter, 149 in regulation, Skip Bayless came in here the other day and he talked about how the Lakers had a terrible loss to the Detroit Pistons. Guess who has a worse record than the Detroit Pistons? And they beat the historically great. Now, if you look at them offensively, the Nets are averaging 122.6 offensive rating, which will be the greatest in NBA history.
We also got to look at the fact that they gave up pretty much all their interior defenders, such as Jarrett Allen in the middle. They got DeAndre Jordan starting, but I'm not sure if he's at his athletic prime to be the stronghold in the middle that they need him to be. They also gave up Karis LeVert in the wing, which he wasn't a bad defender. And on this particular Nets team, he was one of the better defenders.
They average 120 defensive rating, which will be the worst in NBA history. Now, I tried to tell you the 85 points that they held Miami to was an anomaly. Oh, that's a sign of things to come. 85 against Miami, average giving up 130 against everybody else other than Miami. Wow. Now, Skip, how you get a lead and Russ just walking to the basket, laying it up, and one on 7-foot KD. Bradley Beal getting whatever he wants. Kyrie, to his credit, he stepped up, said he couldn't guard a stick last night.
Now, KD's off an injury. The Nets can't exactly expect him to drop all those points, average 30 points a game, and be one of the best defenders on the team. That man is just coming off of almost 2 years of not playing ball. Can't really expect him to be on that level.
Couldn't guard a parked car with a Uzi, going right by him. Skip, you told me there's a guy, and everybody at home, you guys will know this name, and I want you to circle it. His name is Bruce Brown.
Yep.
He's the defensive stopper.
He is.
How the hell Bradley Beal and Russ get 78 combined points against a defensive stopper?
That's because he's not. Because in reality, the Nets had Joe Harris guarding some of the best offensive scorers on the Wizards. That's another conundrum with this team.
Do you realize who Bradley Beal is?
A defensive stopper. That's what you told me.
No, Bradley Beal is it. When he goes Bradley Beal, he is unstoppable.
I don't think Russell Westbrook knows that, because probably in his eyes, he views himself as being better than Beal because of what he has achieved in the league thus far. Bradley Beal is a guy who hasn't really made his mark yet in the playoffs.
So everybody see. So who is Colin
Who
Sexton?
have you been campaigning for the Lakers to acquire?
Let me ask you, can I ask you a question?
Bradley Beal.
Can I ask you a question?
Thank you.
Is Colin Sexton Bradley Beal? Because he dropped 42 on your head. Everybody's getting career highs against you, Skip. Skip, you gave up 72 point paints.
Is it my turn?
Hold on just a second, Skip. You gave up 72 point paints to a team that doesn't have a big. They just signed Alex Lynn.
What does that say about DeAndre Jordan And also that signing with Alex Lynn, it doesn't really do anything for this team because he's sort of like a finesse center, a guy who can spread the floor, who's not really athletic like that in the middle that they need. They need that Jarrett Allen type. And that may be the biggest blow this season for the Nets to acquire James Harden is losing Jarrett Allen. Because even in the limited minutes that he played, he was averaging a double-double and with a good amount of blocks.
I don't even know where he was, but he wasn't even on the roster. They signed Alex Lynn just to have some bodies. And they did this to you, Skip. I keep telling you, Skip, you have defensive issues. You're averaging giving up 125 points since the trade. Since you got Harden, your defensive guys, Taurean Prince, a wing, Jared Allen, a true rim protector, shot blocker, you gave that up. And I told you you're going to struggle. Steve Nash said it again last night. We're not going to win until we decide to play defense, and we haven't played it.
And also to Steve Nash, man, I have to look at last night. He made a mistake by not calling a timeout. They could have advanced the ball to the half court instead of having that sloppy looking inbound. But once again, with the Nets, I'm not sure if Steve Nash is really the guy making the calls here, because the more the season goes along and the fact that they went after James Harden the way they did, I'm starting to believe that this team is really a Mike D'Antoni team with Steve Nash being the face because he's the more likable guy. Because the Nets right now, they have a bunch of players that's not really viewed well by the public. James Harden, the fallout he had with the Houston Rockets. Of course, Kevin Durant and his quirkiness with the media. And of course, Kyrie Irving. He has multiple incidents with the media. And people somewhat view him as a guy who thinks that he's better than everyone else.
Some nights your offense can get you out of harm's way, but there's no way. The end of this game, you know what it reminded me of, Skip? The Indiana Knicks game. Remember how Reggie Miller got them 11 points in like 9 seconds? They stole it. The only difference was Reggie stole the inbounds. This time, the other guy stole the inbounds, passed it to Russ, and Russ let that three fly.
And at the same time, the Nets also had a timeout available to them, which is a Steve Nash fuck up. But once again, Steve Nash has a good guy's image, and he really softens the blow with the Nets, especially when it comes to the media.
The other guy stole the inbound?
Did he not steal it?
No.
What happened to
Is
him?
it my turn finally?
Yeah,
Is the show over, Jenny? I don't know.
Not yet.
Okay. I think I need to speak a little bit.
That last three Russ hit, what
Because
happened?
this show is in dire need of perspective.
Okay, well, go ahead and give it to us.
Okay, first of all, the Washington Wizards have been COVID-racked like no other NBA team, and they're finally getting healthy coming out of that outbreak that just wrecked their team. And when you do have Russ, and you do have Bradley Beal, and you are at home, you are a threat to beat anybody on any night, any way, shape, or form. But what
Uh-oh, Skip, don't give Russ too much credit here.
happened at the first of this game? Well, my first surprise was, no, James Harden. He is running away with the NBA assist lead, once held last year by LeBron James.
Right.
He led it last year, and he said, okay, that's enough of that. I got to start shooting threes. We'll get to him in just a minute here on the show. But in this case, the Wizards came out deadheaded and dead-legged as usual because there's no James Harden, and it's like, well...
You mean the Nets came out like that?
No, the Wizards did, because I think they were thinking they don't take us seriously, and we shouldn't take ourselves seriously because Bradley Beal shut it down and quit on the home team in the first half last night.
He probably did that most likely because Russell Westbrook was doing his thing. And Russell Westbrook is the type of player, let's say if he misses like 5-6 shots in a row, he'll continue to shoot the ball. And when you look at Bradley Beal and how proficient he's being, he has to wonder, what the hell makes this guy think that he can come here on my squad and do what he does? That's why I say it's a matter of time before Bradley Beal is going to exit this team. He's just being nice about it right now.
They fell behind 23-9, and then it was 31-13, and I thought it was a cakewalk. If we can just see Bradley Beal. It got so bad he wouldn't even sit with the team during a timeout. There's a wide open, watch this, Bradley Beal just says, okay, I'm out. I'm out.
See right there, throughout the whole game, Bradley Beal's body language was just like that. That's why I said this win, it didn't really help the Wizards in any type of way. It was just a moment of just, guys having fun. It was just something in the moment. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of internal issues with this team. And it pretty much starts with Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal.
Out. I'm done. I've seen enough. I'm sick of this. Thank you very much.
Look at that.
Just wide open.
Bradley Beal saying, is that going to stop Jeff Green?
Yeah. There's Bradley Beal. Oh, that was the effort. That's a lot of good.
I mean, he's a part of that. I mean, he's up there sulking, but he's a part of the reason.
Now, he's just watching them play offense, and I'll just stand out here at the three-point line, and I'll just watch. And I'll just watch over here in the corner, watch them stink it up.
And this also makes Scott Brooks look real bad. And Scott Brooks kind of had the same issue with Durant. Durant felt this way in OKC. It's just his body language didn't really show it like that. Not overtly like how Beal is doing right here. Durant, after he left OKC, in that Twitter spat that he had with the secret account, he revealed that, he wanted Brooks still being there. But the main issue was with them not telling Westbrook to, take it down a notch a bit, and that Durant was the star player.
Lose. This is in the first half of last night's game. And finally, he goes over to the bench, and he just sat there away from his team. He pulled a LeBron in game 1 of the finals at Oracle. Well, he did.
No, he
just
didn't.
before overtime.
Yo, Skip is always throwing them jabs at LeBron. But that is fact, what he just said. LeBron did do that. And at times, throughout his career, LeBron does have moments where he checked out on his team.
And then all of a sudden, weirdly enough,
but that shit was petty right there. What Skip did, just throwing that jab in there for Shannon.
they started to catch fire. Why did they catch fire? Because Russell Westbrook despises Kevin Durant for leaving him behind in Oklahoma City. And he still hasn't made any peace with that or given it up.
And, at the end of the day, Kevin Durant was 100% right about leaving Russell Westbrook. And every other season that keeps going on keeps proving it. Russell Westbrook is just doing him. Like I said before, he'll take 6-7 shots, miss all of them, and continues to shoot. And the last time we seen him at OKC, he had back-to-back years with first-round playoff exits by teams that were kind of lesser than the team he had.
Kevin's just fine with it because Kevin went and got his rings with the Golden State Warriors. He got 2 rings, 2 finals MVPs, and he's literally looking down, literally from 7 feet tall, looking down at little Russ saying, I don't care about you anymore. You're irrelevant to me. And Russell took this like it was an NBA Finals Game 7. And down the stretch, Russell actually said, no, I got it.
He guarded KD.
He guarded KD. I'm saying, what are you doing? KD, you got to take advantage of this. He could not take advantage because
once again, Russell Westbrook, I'ma do me. The I'ma do me culture with Russell Westbrook, man. Jesus.
Russell Westbrook was possessed.
Yes.
Okay, so let's look at.
He was possessed for himself. At the end of the day, if guarding Kevin Durant wasn't efficient, he would still do it on the court. And that's where Scott Brooks is supposed to come in and be like, yo, Westbrook, stop that bullshit. It's affecting the team in a negative way.
What happened at the end of this game, it still looked several times like it was way over. It still looked like, as they kept, KD made all 6 of his free throws. Kyrie made his free throws and made a big shot. They're up 5 with seconds left, and it just looked like they were completely in control. And then all of a sudden, the fateful sequence transpires. The, if you want, Reggie Miller memorial sequence transpires. And here goes Bradley Beal, and he's so hot, he just jacks it on the run and makes it. Now it's up to Joe Harris to throw it in bounds. And you said, well, wait a second, Garrison Matthews stole the ball?
Yeah.
He didn't steal the ball. Joe Harris lost his mind. He had made a career-high 8 threes in this game. And tell me who he...
Right there, they were already confused on that inbound. But Steve Nash should have called timeout. And the Nets bench is right there. Steve Nash should have called that fucking timeout.
throwing it to. He thought KD was going to break to the corner, but he didn't even look. It's like it was a no-look pass, and the only man who broke to the corner was the kid from Lipscomb, who he just throws it right to him in the corner. Is KD even in the ballpark of this play? Help me out. Joe Harris, what's wrong with you? This is the game. If he makes a clean inbounds pass, the game is over. It's just over.
What KD shows him his hand, and like he's going to the corner. What's he supposed to do?
Okay, but he throws it completely into the corner to Garrison. It's like he was the intended target on this play. I've never seen it as bad. This is the worst inbounds pass under pressure I've ever seen. He throws it completely to the corner, and there's only one man out there, and he's wearing the wrong color jersey. And I said, Joe Harris, because I have respect for him, because he can really shoot.
He caught foul last night.
He's the three-point champion a couple of years back, and he was out of his mind. He even made a couple more in the fourth quarter. If you inbounds it cleanly, the game is over. And instead, he inbounds it to the kid from Lipscomb, which is in Nashville, Tennessee, and he turns and feeds Russ. Now, who is Russell Westbrook? Help me out here.
He had just missed a three.
He had just Westbrooked a three so badly that I felt.
Westbrook. That should really be his name right there.
Sorry for him.
did.
He is a career 31% three-point, 31%. He's
Now, even though his career average is that low, Russell Westbrook, once again, is a guy who does not give a fuck. He's going to continue shooting. He can miss 23-pointers in a row. He's going to continue taking that shot. And I bet you on that play, let's just say if there was more time on the clock, Russell Westbrook still would have took that shot with no hesitation, not even looking towards Bradley Beal, even though Beal at the moment had the hotter hand.
He's much better this year so far, but it's early. And he just rips it as cleanly as you can rip it because he shot it possessed. He shot it right through the heart of
He was
Kevin
4-7
Durant.
last night.
He was out of his mind. So Bradley Beal scores 22 in the fourth quarter, and there are very few humans out there who can score 22 in a quarter. Obviously, Clay can, Steph can.
Right.
Maybe KD can when he gets going, but he's not a gunner like that. He's not a
we just
no-conscience
saw
Now, you guys can look back because Skip said Bradley Beal had 22 points in that quarter. So you can look back in that quarter to see how many shots Russell Westbrook took versus Bradley Beal. I bet you it's pretty much almost the same, or maybe even Russell Westbrook probably took more. But I'll bet on that. You guys definitely check that out.
I do it the other night.
Well, he did. He had 21.
21.
Okay.
Skip, but you remember Greg Anthony did the same thing when he passed to Reggie. He tried to get it, and Reggie just got the ball and he ran behind the three-point line.
Okay.
On this one, he thought KD was standing, and KD faked like he was going to the corner. He says, I just need to get the ball to KD. They fouled KD. KD money, he's 13-13 at the free throw line at that point.
Okay, but KD didn't even really take a step to the corner.
He faked it
like
out.
maybe a head fake, but it was so bad. And then he throws it into the deep corner. It wasn't like a half corner pass. He throws it to the deep corner. What are you doing? He went blind.
And I'm glad they lost because Kyrie Irving was walking his butt off, Skip. He walked. What's the official?
Okay, but wait a second. Before we get to that play, so here's the next key play. There's still 4 seconds left, and they're inbounding. The Nets
Right.
are on their end.
Right.
And Russ is taking KD. And
He
here we
knows
go.
KD move.
And he's got a step. I think KD was going to dunk this,
Yeah, he was.
right? And
Damn. Russell Westbrook was going ham like it was a championship game. Wow. You saw the way he ran into the board? Russell Westbrook, man, definitely doing him. He wanted that revenge matchup. Jesus Christ, man. This guy. You got to admit, man, he played his ass off, though. He guarded the fuck out of KD right there.
Russell snakes in, dives, and deflects it out of bounds. And it was a crucial play because it took a couple of seconds off the
Yes.
clock. So now they're going to inbounds, obviously. There it is. What a beautiful steal that is, because Kevin's going to dunk over whoever that is underneath. I can't really see who it is. But now we got the inbounds pass. And you can't move your feet. You can't move.
No.
It's walking. You walk. You have to stay stationary on the baseline. You cannot
Unless
move.
it's a made bad.
Actually, was a pretty good play. It just went in and out. But at the end of the day, the Nets should have never been in none of this situation. And just at the end of the day, a timeout should have been called. And all these little mishaps, these little small lack of details, this is exactly a Mike D'Antoni situation. Because if you look at most of the teams he's coached, a lot of games were lost on those teams because of lack of paying attention to small details. Especially when Mike D'Antoni was on the Knicks. The Knicks were one of those teams where after a timeout, especially with Mike D'Antoni as the coach, you can easily run plays on that team.
Okay,
It was out of bounds.
And it was almost like ball don't lie
Right.
because TLC has got a bunny little left-handed layup and lips it out.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Lips it
Hold
out
on.
like he should
That play
have.
is for Kevin Durant. What is Kevin Durant doing? That's the exact same thing LeBron James did against the Nuggets, and you ripped him. What is Kevin Durant doing?
Stop
that
it.
play is for Kevin Durant.
It is not. Do you think he called it?
That play is not for Kevin Durant. First of all, in the inbound, Kevin Durant was more open and they fucked it up. Now Kevin Durant is literally posting up this guy. He's not as open, and another guy's right behind him to steal the inbound. It just doesn't make sense to even throw the ball his way. He definitely was not open on that play.
He said after the game the play was for him. That's what he said.
Wait a second. Did one of the Lakers?
Yeah, look at Beal. I believe that was Beal or the person that's behind the shooter right here. He was actually looking at Kevin Durant, and he was going to steal or try to poke out the inbound pass from Durant. Durant was not open on that play.
Break wide open for a bunny layup? No, you stop it.
Yeah, that was definitely Beal. So Bradley Beal was definitely behind Kevin Durant, and he was ready to at least poke the ball out his hands or deflect it or do something. Durant was not open at all.
AD,
What are you talking about?
AD broke wide open for a three.
A wide open, it was like a 40-foot three. It was a last gasp desperate.
And it was a last gasp desperation. So it is what it is. Like I said, Scott Brooks, man, he's definitely on the hot seat. But for the Washington Wizards, even though it was a nice victory, a revengeful victory for Westbrook, they're still on the hook because Bradley Beal is clearly not happy on that team. And as far as the Nets, they can't Mike D'Antoni their way into a championship. That whole I'm going to outscore the defense philosophy has not worked out for Mike D'Antoni. And he's one of these coaches that have been on excellent, talented teams, but has really nothing to show for it. Not even an NBA Finals appearance. Let's not forget, he was on that talented team in Phoenix. He had Kobe, Dwight Howard, and Steve Nash in the Lakers. He had James Harden, Chris Paul, Dwight Howard, and Westbrook in Houston. And now he's pretty much secretly the guy behind the scenes with this Brooklyn Nets team, in my opinion. And they're still struggling, but yet they even have more offensive tools than all those other teams he coached on. But yet it's still a struggle. But we'll see how this plays out. It is what it is. Until next time, you guys stay safe. Peace.